Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to solve for the angle of a triangle using our trigonometry that we are learning. Of course, if you haven't watched those other two videos explaining just how to solve for the side of a triangle, you'll want to start there because the good news about solving for an angle is that, excuse me, it's not any different than solving for a side. It's just something you have to know how to put in your calculator. So it will be the same setup with SOHCAHTOA and labeling your sides and figuring out if it's sine, cosine, or tangent. It's just how you'll put it in your calculator to solve for the angle. So I have this question. What does the inverse of a trig function do? Well, it solves for the angle of a triangle. Okay, obviously. So now these first 6 equations, I'm just going to show you how to put it in your calculator, and then we'll set up our equations and yeah, do the whole thing. So if this is what we have, the tangent of a equals 1.5, all you have to do is go into your calculator and hit second, and then the tan. You'll see above these buttons, sine, cosine, and tangent, in blue, well, depending on your calculator, I guess, it has tan to the -1, and then cosine to the -1, and sine to the -1. That -1 as an exponent in math means the inverse. So inverse typically means the opposite of. So now we're solving for the angle. So tangent inverse of 1.5 equals 56.3. So that's it. That's the angle. That's all we had to do. Now it says round to the nearest tenth, but I'm just going to put the nearest degree because that's typically what the instructions are when you're solving for an angle. So just 56 degrees. So if you blinked, you missed it. Right? That's all we're doing. So second tan 0.25 for the second one. 14 degrees. All right. So I'm going to fill in the other ones. Well, I'll show you a second. Sine 0.88. So this one is 62 degrees when you round up. I might as well finish these out with you. Second sine of 0.52. This is 31 degrees. Then we have the second cosine of 0.48. 61 degrees. And then second cosine of 0.33. Okay, now a few things I forgot to mention, even though it says it here. Make sure you're in degree mode. So I said that, I explained that before when I was showing you how to solve for a side, but you'll just go into mode and highlight degree. Now it won't change unless you happen to reset your calculator. It goes back to radian mode, but as long as you put it in degree and then you don't reset your calculator, it will stay in degree mode. Also, this, these values here, this could be a fraction or a decimal, so you don't necessarily have to put it in as a decimal. Like when we're setting up our ratios, you'll see that. But that's it. The hardest part about this is just remembering what to do when you're at this step, because it's not something you write out necessarily or, solve like an equation like we normally do. It's just you have to remember to do the inverse of this to get the measure of this angle. So I just find that, when I'm typically in class and I'm teaching and then get to the test, sometimes kids will just forget how to put it in their calculator. But here we go. We need to mark our reference angle, which is what we're solving for now. Label our sides. So this is the opposite side and this is the adjacent. You can see I wrote SOHCAHTOA here. That's always an important thing to do when you're working with trig. It's just a good reminder of what your ratios are and what sides you'll be using. So if we're using the adjacent and the opposite, the O and the A, we're going to use the tangent. So set it up. Tangent of x equals O over A. In this case, it's 4 over 5. Now that's it. We're at the same spot we were up here. So just go in your calculator. Second tan 4 divided by 5. You can just use the division bar. You could also put it in as an actual fraction using alpha y equals, but it's not necessary. So if I round to the nearest degree, x equals 39 degrees. Okay, that's it. I'll do this next one with you as well. It's my reference angle. This is the adjacent side. This is the hypotenuse. The A and the H. That comes after cosine. So let's set it up. The cosine of x equals a over h, or in this case, 8 over 18. Great, put it in your calculator. Second cosine, 8 divided by 18. Bang, bang, boogity. X equals 64 degrees. Okay, so at this point, I would recommend that you pause the video. Just move to the back of this paper or the next page. There's just 3 problems here you're going to try on your own. So if we were in class, I would say, I'm shoving you out of the nest. Do these on your own. I'm going to go over them, but you should try them before I do. Okay. Alright, so here's our reference angle that's marked with that Greek letter theta. You could just make it x, doesn't really matter. This is the adjacent side, this is the hypotenuse. So we are using the cosine. I didn't write SOHCAHTOA down. Shame on me. Alright, so in h, we've got the cosine of x equals 9 over 12. Let me put it in my calculator. 9 divided by 12. Boom, 41 degrees. X equals. Okay. See, it's not bad at all. Next one. My reference angle, this is the opposite side. This is the hypotenuse. So O and the H, we're using sine here. So the sine of x equals opposite over hypotenuse. In this case, 8 over 11. Plug it in, plug it in. Second sine, 8 divided by 11. 46.6. Or, when you round it up, you get 47 degrees. Awesome. Okay, ooh, the last one. Now we have an x and a y that we need to solve for. It doesn't matter which one you start with. I'm going to start with the y. So, in reference to the y, this is my adjacent side, this is my opposite side. We're using the tangent, ladies and gents. So, the tangent of y is opposite over the adjacent. Let me put it in my calculator. I just need to commit to the accent or not. I'm sorry, I keep just teasing along. 31 divided by 23. So y equals 53.4 or 53 degrees. Okay. Now at this point, once we know that y is 53 degrees, we can just use our basics of geometry and remember that there's 180 degrees in every triangle. So I could do 180 minus 90 minus 53 to get x, but I'm teaching you trig. So I'm going to do it the trig way, of course. So if x is my reference angle, that means this side is the opposite and this side is the adjacent. So we're still using the tangent. Tangent of x, now this time it's 23 over 31. So let me put it in here. Second tan, 23 divided by 31. Boom, boom. Not really a surprise. We knew we were going to get 37 degrees. That's it. Hope it makes sense and that you're loving it. Okay, bye.